Welcome to another episode of the City Boys Show. I'm Javier. This is Danny. I can't even act like we didn't record this 20 times.
I'm
Guys,
so tired of dancing in that intro.
I never want to do another show again, bro. Like, this has been the worst experience of our lives, guys. Danny doesn't have Wi-Fi. My computer, I think, is broken. Who knows what's going on anymore? I'm done, bro. I'm sorry for all the listeners. We're negative. Okay. We had some games played. What's going on with you, Danny? I mean, at this point, do we even want to talk soccer?
We've been talking about soccer for 1 hour, and we don't have no proof of it because all of that is
No
gone
content.
now.
Okay.
Back in Atlanta, which is why I have crappy Wi-Fi in the hotel room, but we had a great weekend. We got lots to talk about if our internet survives. We got Messi.
Yeah.
You got some stadium. You got the inside scoop about the stadium that I'm hyped to hear about, even though I kind of have heard it the first time we recorded. And we got to talk about the Hudson Derby, homie. It's a big game coming up.
Yeah, I know. It's a busy week. So let's get right into the action. I don't want to have small talk with you anymore. I barely even want to talk to you right now. Messi comes into town. Let's talk about this. Vibes before the game. His bus gets stopped. His bus tries to go through River Ave. What were they thinking?
My man was still using those old MapQuest directions, homie. He moved up to Google Maps, and he decided
he had the printed copy, bro. No GPS on his thing. That driver is done, bro. He's been fired. Let go.
And that bus went right at the same time that the march was happening, and the fans let him hear it.
Yeah, I know. And one crazy thing, I don't know if you saw, but I think the Forever Pod posted it. They like zoomed in, and you see Messi's bodyguard just like mad focus. Like, what are you gonna do, bro? There's like 30 people lined up on each side of the bus, and Messi's bodyguard's like, "Yeah, I got you guys. You ain't doing nothing."
Yo, Messi's bodyguard plays no games. Did you see the thing where he pushed the cameraman back because he was getting too close to Messi?
For no reason. Like that cameraman's like, I'm actually a CIA agent. I got him. It was so dumb. But kudos to the fans. I mean, they brought the vibes before the game. Like, that's how it should be. Messi should know he's coming into a hostile environment. Like, that's what you want to see from your fan base. I get it. Messi's the GOAT, greatest of all time. But he's not coming in here just to score a couple goals and like throw a party. No, we're here to come win a game. This is the middle of a playoff race. And I'm glad that the fans showed out that way and didn't just give him a bunch of love. Like, that's what needs to happen.
Agreed. And, something that you touched on before the game that I think is great that the fans brought that type of behavior to the game is that we are trying to make new soccer fans. And if Messi comes in here, scores 4 goals, everyone's only cheering for Messi. There's no real tension in the game. There's no real battle. You're not making new fans out of that, man. You need to give them the unique New York experience, the New York hostility, the New York celebration, the New York, vibe. And then someone who clicks with that vibe is going to say, man, I'm glad I got to see Messi play, but I got to experience this too. And I could come back in 2 weeks and watch it again for $20. I'm in there. And that's how you make diehard fans.
Exactly. And the one thing I will say, though, is Jonathan Sanchez tweeted something out, and he said something along the lines where, like, oh, I want to come to the next game. Where is it? And he's like, Red Bull Arena. And they're like, nah, I'm good. So that needs to get fixed. But yes, I agree. Like, bringing that atmosphere, it was a great atmosphere too. Second biggest crowd we've had in a while, 44,738. Look at me with good numbers right there.
Bad internet, good numbers.
And the Tifo was fire, bro. The Tifo was so cool, man. Like that was unique. They had like the Barbie theme. It was like Messi sold separately and like support your local club. Like that Tifo was cool, man. And I think it was a great experience. And it kind of set the tone for the game. Like this is no nonsense. This is no bullshit. We came here to win. Even if you're here to see Messi, this is gonna be a tough game. Getting right into the game, when you saw the lineup, what's your initial thoughts? I know the only real difference we had was Maxi came in. We didn't have Maxi last game. Ojeda started instead, and Tana was at center back because Reese is still hurt. Initial thoughts when you saw it?
Initial thoughts is, for the exception of Tana, this is going to be the lineup that we have probably during the playoffs, if we make it to the playoffs, and probably for the rest of the season. So I was excited to see less tinkering and more like, this is the lineup, this is what we're playing. And although we had a terrible game on Wednesday, still thought this team, if they had their mentality straight, could do well against it. And I think they did. What did you think?
No, I think, like I thought before, they may have overlooked that Philly game because they were so focused on this Inter Miami game. And like, think about it. You have family who wants to come to these games. You have friends who want to come to this game. So you're probably getting distracted midweek. Like, oh, hey, you got any tickets for this Miami game? I want to come see this one. And they know it's going to be packed. Me as a player, I might have been overlooking a Philly too, because I'm thinking about like, oh my gosh, the Messi show is coming. I really got to show out on Saturday. Like that's the marquee matchup. So I don't blame him for doing it, but I think that's kind of what happened. But then this game, or it could have been that was the punch in the face they needed to be like, I need to do better moving forward. You know what I mean? Like we are in the middle of a playoff race. We need to be better, and that might have been what happened too. So we'll see what it plans out. Let's just go through the game. But it started off already with like the Messi show. There was like that 4th minute goal, the 4th minute free kick by Messi, and the crowd erupted. It looked like they were trying to see this Messi goal, and they were trying to see it early for those Messi fans.
I'm not going to lie. When that setup was put for that free kick, I thought Messi was going to make that in.
Yeah, I mean it's a perfect spot for Messi. Like that's whenever you think of Messi and dangerous free kicks, that's literally where it is. So you couldn't have set him up perfectly. I'm just glad it went right, and that we got Matt Freese at goalkeeper.
Yeah, and but like you said, like you could tell that fans were ready to cheer for a Messi goal, but just a few minutes later, Santi had a free kick, and you saw the supporters be loud, be excited, and Santi almost made that in himself. And but they stopped it, so it was cool to see kind of this back and forth, not only between the players because it was a really fast first half where the ball kept going back and forth between both teams, a lot of transition play, but also you saw the back and forth with the fans where there were Messi fans trying to be loud and then NYCFC fans stepping up and being even louder. So it was kind of a battle on both sides of the pitch.
Yeah, and when Nick Cushing mentioned it after the game, he was like, "Look, man, in some of these other stadiums, you go there, and when Messi comes to play, it's just all you hear is Messi chants, and you don't hear the home crowd." And here we made sure that wasn't the case. You know, every time there was a Messi chant started, there was a new NYCFC, NYC, or New York City, New York City, which the kids love the New York City one. We need to give the kids like some better chant. It's like the most generic thing, like New York, like but it was cool to see them go at it. To be honest, if you watch the game as like a third party, it wasn't the most entertaining game, which we didn't expect from a New York team who likes to bring everybody up top and an Inter Miami team who likes to open up the game too. So it felt like this could have been a 4-3 game coming in. And then for a 1-1 game, it was like, what the hell just happened?
I agree. I thought it was going to be a high scoring game. And I'm not going to lie, there were times where I was a little bored, just a little. I was like, I wanted to see some Messi magic, you know what I mean? And I wanted to see us show what we could do offensively. And although I'm happy for the win, I would say there was a lot of
It wasn't
what
a win; it was a tie.
NYCFC does. Sorry, it felt like a win. But although we got a draw at the end there because of with a draw that felt like a win, um, I do think that like we saw what kind of NYCFC's curse with, which is not being able to finish, not being super clinical at the attacking third, and so we saw a lot of that. I thought we had multiple opportunities. Parks is again in a little bit of a slump. My man had another chance to score a goal, and he missed it again. And so we're still seeing the team struggling a little bit offensively.
Yeah, and I think one of the reasons why it might have not been as an entertaining game as we all thought it was going to be is defensively we locked them down. Like we need to give credit where credit is due. Like we really locked these guys down. Messi, and there's been multiple stats going around. Some say 1 touch, 0 touches in the box. Some say 3 touches in the box. But regardless, with those limited amount of touches, it's insane to see Messi like that. There's a great stat by Chris Campbell. He says he wrote it on Twitter, and it's interesting to see. Messi had 42 touches, 5 touches in 90 minutes, and he averages 42 per 90 on the season. So we really limited their guys, which I think is a testament to first the game plan, and a testament to guys like James Sands who really locked it down, and our back line.
Agreed. I think James Sands played a hell of a game. Not only did he get us the draw, but defensively, he was lights out. He made Messi. I know Messi was already kind of injured, but I think he really tied him down. And Thiago Martins talked about, the chippiness that him and Messi had just from, the back and forth they had. And I think you asked him a question about it.
Yeah, they were going back and forth, and he's like, "Hey, look, Messi said some things that I don't think he wants me to say publicly, and I said some things that I don't want him to say publicly. But he is the greatest player in the world, but I'm not just going to let him walk in goals." And that's exactly what you want to hear from your captain. Like, yeah, I'm not going to let you walk in goals. And when you come to New York, you're not just going to score 3 goals on us. It's going to be a hard fought battle. And that's exactly what we saw out there. And props again to the defense. That's how you stop a strong Miami team. And I think we forget this is the number 1 team in the East and in the league. And the fact that we kept them to 1, and when there's such an offensive powerhouse, like that is a lot of credit to our team. And we can't undersell like how well defensively we performed. We performed so well defensively that James has had to be the one to score.
Not only that, but also, what about Matt Freese, bro? There was that moment on the 23rd minute where it looked like it was going to be a goal. The first shot was blocked by accidentally by an Inter Miami player, bounced off of him, had a second opportunity for a shot. Freese stopped it and ended up being called offsides anyways. But man, Freese, again, although he gave up a goal, lights out. He saved multiple opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, we always give Matt Freese his flowers, though. And honestly, I thought Matt Freese had a relatively quiet game. Not because of his fault, but because our defense was so good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What do you think of the Campana goal? Do you blame anybody for that, or is that just Messi and Inter Miami just being pretty good?
I mean, I think that's the game plan they had. Honestly, I think that like Luis Suarez was messing up that team. Having Luis Suarez and Messi at the same time, both players are old on the older end. Both of them are not at their prime. They're a little slow. And when they were out together, they were kind of suffering offensively because both of them can be slow. They like to play transition soccer, get those numbers and score off of it. I saw them do it in Atlanta, and when they had Campana out there, they looked deadly. And I think, honestly, that Campana is the best second string striker in the league because Suarez is in front of him. But on most teams, he'd be the number 1 striker. And so I think when you saw Campana out there, you saw the game plan change. You saw those substitutions bring a lot of speed to the offense. And I thought it was going to happen. I thought Gray played pretty well lockdown. I thought Freese did all right. I think it was just a really tough goal to stop. What do you think?
No, I agree with you in the sense that I thought Luis Suarez was actually a liability from them at times. And Messi, I mean, when they say Messi really doesn't run around the field, he really does not. I mean, that guy barely moves. So if you have those two guys out there at the same time, it's just a huge defensive liability for you. So if they're not scoring goals, it's actually in our favor, right? So I think Campana, if he would have started, might have actually shifted the game more in their favor. So I think it was actually a plus for us. One thing that we kind of kept talking about throughout the game, it was getting later and later in the game. We're in the 50th minute, no subs. We're in the 60th minute, no subs. We're in the 70th minute, no subs. We get to the 81st minute and Nick Cushing makes his first subs. Were you starting to question, like, why aren't there more subs happening right now?
1,000%. And if we would have lost that game, this entire episode would have been about subs because it was outrageous that it took him that long to make some subs. People were gassed out there. Julian Wolf, not Julian Wolf, Hannes Wolf was terrible, and he didn't take him out. Keaton Parks was having a tough game, and he kept Keaton Parks in until the 80th minute. I don't know what Cushing was thinking. What were your thoughts on the late subs?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of questioned the subs too, because when we finally did have our first hub, you brought in Micha. And Tavon, I think, is not like a Tavon is a solid right back who's actually been an asset offensively. And then they brought in Perea and Munset Bakrar, which I get. I thought maybe Julian could have came in a little earlier. You put him in the 88th minute, and I think at this point we know Julian's a deadly finisher. Why not give him a chance? If, let's say, Hannes isn't the guy this game and he's struggling a little, why not get a Julian Fernandez out there earlier? Christian McFarland came out the 88th minute. Why not bring him earlier? And yeah, so I thought the subs took a lot longer. Maybe Cushing was thinking, hey, this is the best team. They've been flowing, even though we were down 1-0 at that point, and around the 70th, 80th minute, maybe he wanted it to stay consistent. I could kind of understand that. But yeah, I thought at that point, legs were getting tired and people needed to be subbed down. And it's crazy to think about how I think Maxi played the whole game. And this is coming off a midweek where he played half the game. So it's crazy with this congested schedule to see Maxi out there the whole game.
Also, I think what's so confusing is that we talked about this last episode that Alonso Martinez, the only player who can consistently score goals, keeps getting subbed out. And the reasoning behind it is because he's tired. But you got 37-year-old Maxi Morales out there playing 90 plus minutes. The logic doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. So I agree. And I think we're going to see if Alonso finally, I don't think Alonso's gone a full 90 minutes in a while. I think it was like early in the season he went full 90, and then we've been seeing him sub out for Munsa most times. But then we got to get to the last play of the game. Santi free corner kick. The crazy part is I'm yelling because it's literally the last play of the game. And Matt Freese is looking to the sideline saying, guys, can I go up? Can I go up? Like, let me go up so then we can have another guy in the box. And Matt Freese is a tall guy, so he'd be a very helpful person. So when I didn't see him in the box, I'm here like why? Then the ball's going in. I'm like, why did we do that? And then Sand just bam. And then it just shut me up real quick.
Bro, and the stadium went wild. I've never heard it that loud. It was like, wow! I had goosebumps. What an ending. And with Sands it being his first goal at ever for the team?
First MLS
it's crazy.
Goal. Well, no. He scored one, I think, in the Scottish League or wherever he went. But it's his first MLS goal ever.
First goal for NYCFC.
Epic moment for him. And I'm like, after the game, I'm like talking to Sands, and Sands is a very even keel guy. If you ever talk to him, never high, never low, just right there in the middle. And I'm like, come on, tell me how those emotions were. Tell me how great it was. He's like, yeah, it was good. Yeah, for a guy who doesn't score often, it was good. I'm like, damn it, show me damn emotion. You just scored the game winner, like the highlight of your career in front of Messi and this Miami team that's stacked. And he's like, yeah, it was good. I want to be like Sands when I grow up, like just always even keel no matter what, because I'm too emotional at times. I would have been losing my mind, dude.
Sounds like somebody I don't want to party with. He's gonna bring the vibe down, hard body.
Sands is solid, bro. He's like one of those guys, does his job, and he really does. He just does his job. He kind of like man-marked Messi kind of all game. Every time Messi got it, Sands swarmed him, and I think that was part of the game plan. Make sure you keep the ball out of Messi's hand, and it really did work. It'll be interesting to see these guys in the playoffs. You know what I mean? Like how that all shapes and stuff, because I think we can give them a run for their money. Granted, we wouldn't be home because they're going to be home throughout the playoffs, but I think we showed that we are a capable team to go against the squad.
Yeah, man. I think it ties to what we said last week, where it's all in the player's mentality. It looks like we have the talent there. It looks like sometimes we have a decent game plan, but we step up to the big games, but we just have to be consistent and show it. So hopefully they keep playing like this. I was a little disappointed that it ended 1-1, honestly. I thought, man, like, why are we so happy about a draw? But it took me a couple days to take a step back and say, this is the best team in the entire league. We just came out of a 5-1 loss. We don't have superstars. And now we were able to stay toe-to-toes with those guys, show that we're doing something right. And we should be kind of happy with this draw.
Yeah. And I was going to mention something that I'm blanking out on now, but I'm blanking out on what I was going to mention. Great podcaster I am.
Was it about the 17 yellow cards or no?
No, yes. Well, we do have to bring up the yellow cards. And you know why the yellow cards are so important? Santi Rodriguez is going to be out for the Hudson River Derby. And Tana Sivajic is going to be out. Tana's going to be out next game too. So if Berg Risa isn't back, and with Maxi just going a full 90, it's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough derby going in. So, I mean, we could save that conversation for Redbulls when we get to that topic, but I'm a little concerned about our next game now.
We might need one-legged Malachi Jones out there.
I saw Malachi after the game. I told him we needed him. I told him we needed him for the Philly game, I think. When did I tell him we needed him? I told him I needed him. And he was like, all right, leave me alone, bro. I'm going to my car. Good dude, though. I like that guy. So anything else about this game we need to talk about?
No, I think we covered everything. What a game. I hope we have more of these. Let's bring some more superstars to New York to have more games like this. That's all I'm saying.
Well, this goes into our next conversation. We went to the stadium experience, which was 3rd Avenue in NYCFC's headquarter location. And the reason this brought me to that conversation is, well, there was also a sit down with Brad Sims, and he talked about there's a lot of discussions with all the owners, and they're all on board that now that Messi's been here, let's not go back. Let's keep moving forward. And there's going to be changes in 2026. In their head, it's like 2026 isn't just like, oh, we're going to play around the World Cup and that's it. It's like, no, how can we adjust our rules? How can we adjust the game moving forward here in the US so that it makes sense and it grows the league? And he didn't give us any specifics, but some of that started making me think, I think they're talking about salary caps. I think they're talking about the way these things are with GAM and CAM and all this nonsense that doesn't really help and just kind of hurts in a sense that, yeah, you have parity in the league, but then you're not getting the best superstars because you're limiting players. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in 2026. And it just made me think of that because you're where you need superstars here. But I think the direction is everybody might get superstars in 2026 because the floodgates might open up. You know what I mean?
And
And
he
I
didn't
think
give
that's
you
how
any hints at all.
no, he didn't tell us how they're getting to that, but like everything's on the table, basically. That's what he said. He said everything's on the table. Owners are like, yes, we need to move forward. How they get there, there hasn't been any specific details yet. But it was interesting to hear that.
Did you ask him how big the table is? Because if it's a coffee table, you can't put everything on it. You know what I mean? If it's like a dining room table, then all right, we got a lot of things to play with. I gotta know the size of this table.
Bro, it's like our office studio table. It's small, but it's gonna be an impact, bro. And so let me talk about this whole stadium experience we got to go in. So you go into this stadium experience. It's called, I don't know what the hell it's called. Whatever. It was cool. So you go into this room. In this room, it's like a panorama. It goes like it's maybe like 10 feet, and it goes like all around the wall. And you're usually they're like, hey, we're gonna show you a video. Just stay tuned, sit back. And the TVs are so big. Like it's one long TV, and it's maybe like 7 feet tall. And it's it basically is like a hype video to get you into like kind of the history of NYCFC, and then it concludes with, look, now the only thing that was missing was this stadium. And then from there, after you see this whole hype video, you're like, okay, that's pretty cool. It was kind of like a whole experience. You go into this room where then you get to see the actual what is it called when like the miniature stadium?
Like a model version of the stadium.
This is how the miniature looked like. Tell me this doesn't look fire, dude.
That does look fire.
So
but
this is basically
it a stadium for ants. It's tiny.
Yeah, it's a rendering of, well, not a rendering, a miniature stadium to give you a feel of what it's going to look like. So if you see, this is where the cube on the right-hand side is that entrance we talked about. And then the supporter section, the entrance is all the way around. They didn't let us take a picture because basically they want fans to, like people who want to buy these luxury suites, they want them to come see this for the first time and really experience what this stadium is going to look like. So we were limited in the amount of pictures we were able to take here. But on this back end, you're going to see like this is where the supporter section is going to be, and that's where that that outdoor like dining area where it's pretty big. You saw the renderings, right?
I remember.
And I asked them, like, what about the marches? Like, how's the march going to play out? And this road right in front, they're anticipating this road right in front, like them being able to block it off. So the march is going to be right in front of the stadium, I think, because their plan is to kind of block off that front row. And I think it'll go then circulate around the stadium, because the back supporter section, that left-hand side is where the supporters are going to be. And that back section is the entrance for the supporters. So it's going to be interesting to see how that march is going to play out. And one of the things we kind of asked them is like, wait, is there any way to expand? We just saw 45,000 fans in Yankee Stadium, right? So it's like, wait, there could be opportunity to fill out these stadiums and have even more capacity. So will it ever grow? And they're limited. And the reason they're limited is, first, for flood reasons, they had to go 5 feet up the ground. So they're kind of going 5 feet higher than the ground just to make sure it makes sense for any flood plans. And then they're in a direct path of the LaGuardia Airport. So you can only build to a certain height wise because of the LaGuardia Airport, because of the fight plan. So they can't go any higher, can't go any lower, and really can't go any wider. So this is going to be max capacity. This stadium will never be able to be bigger than what it already is. Because if you look at other teams, when they do expand their stadium, they're kind of able to like go a little more widthwise and a little more vertically to then grow. But this is kind of max size, which is really interesting to me. And they're kind of going ballpark around 25,000, and might also include some standing room seats, standing room only sections. So it could be a little slightly higher, but it's very limited in the amounts of growth that actually can happen.
We might have to be like Frontier Airlines, bro. You make the seats a little bit smaller, nobody could bring in a carry-on. Bam, you're already at 26.
We'll jam pack that thing somehow. So I wanted to talk about the founding brick. So one of the things, so they were kind of showing us luxury seats, right? They're really prime on, like, there might be 32 suites or roughly around that number that they're trying to sell before the season, before the stadium even opens. And part of that, whoever it is that buys these suites, they're gonna etch their name into one of these subway tiles. And and then they can like autograph their name, and then this wall itself will be put onto the stadium. Now, does that sound very familiar to you?
That does.
It
Sounds like
does,
those
right?
founding
It sounds
bricks.
like a founding member type of brick and things like that. So I then asked Brad Sims, so what's the future for the founding members who had it? And it's still being hashed out, which I find very interesting that that's still being hashed out. But the luxury suites kind of already got hashed out. And then another interesting thing about that, so while you're gonna have whatever it is for the founding members that will somehow be etched into the stadium, they're also gonna be stadium members. This is another whole new thing that I didn't even think about. Stadium members will somehow get their names etched into the new stadium as well. Which, for me, I could understand the founding members' frustrations as they've dedicated their time for 10 years to get anything etched into the stadium of their name or whatever it is that it's going to be. So so I find that very interesting. And you have a puzzled look. Tell me what you're not understanding.
What the hell is a stadium member?
Oh, so I don't know. It might not be called exactly a stadium member, but it's basically it's their way of having new fans buy into season tickets and be able to say, hey, look, you're going to be etched into the stadium in some way where it will live, which I think is a cop out. I do think that's somewhat of a cop out for those guys who've been doing it for 10 years. Now, is the founding members one going to be a lot nicer with beautiful lights and cool subway tiles or whatever it is? And nothing's been specific yet. So I think that will be interesting to see how it all plays out. And I found that really interesting.
That does feel like a little bit of a cop out, especially because there's been, like, I know some members who maybe missed a year or two, and they said, "Oh, you can't get your founding member status back," but now they're going to have brand new season ticket holders be able to get their names on the stadium. That's a little funky, but it is what it is, I guess.
And then what's an interesting thing? The tunnel where the players come out of. You'll also have be able to sit inside the tunnel, and that's where you're going to eat your food and you have your drinks while the players walk out of the stadium. So, like, you're right in the mix of locker room and all that. The players walk through these tunnels and you'll be having your food right there and you can see them walk out of the tunnel. I don't know if you've ever seen the Cowboys stadium, but it's somewhat similar to that, where the fans are inside the stadium before the players even leave to come out to the field.
That's interesting. Although I'd be pretty upset if I was a player and I got to go smell chicken bucket every time I walk past to go play some soccer.
Yeah, and the other interesting thing is the press conference. It's going to be this clear glass, and if you're a fan who has one of these luxury seats, you're going to be able to see the press conference happening as it's going on, which is kind of crazy.
That is crazy. They could watch us fumbling our Instagram live press conference. Wait, so I gotta say, so was this whole
there was a lot of
experience then? So is the whole experience then really focused around like the luxury room, and you got to be like in a mock luxury suite, and pretty much that's what they're selling right now and what they're focusing on? Is that right way to sum up what you saw today?
Yeah, that's basic. Yeah, that was basically what it was. It's them trying to sell these suites to different clientele and us getting the first-hand look at it.
Did they give you a price point for these suites?
No, I think they're fluctuating. Their first wave is like to the people who have been around, corporate partners that they're already involved with, founding members who have been part of it historically. And yeah, so that's it. But they didn't give us a price point of exactly. One interesting thing they were saying, well, Brad Sims was saying, is that these luxury seats will help reduce the price for, let's say, the average fan. And the reason they say that is that a bulk of the money comes from these luxury seats and things like that. So if those are sold, then the regular seating is then more affordable, which I could kind of understand if it all plays out that way. But that's kind of what was told to us.
Sounds like Reaganomics right here. Trickle down effect.
There was a lot more that got into it, but our Wi-Fi is hot trash, and I'm so tired of talking. So listen to the other podcast for a lot more information. Do you want to get into Red Bull? Because our service is so bad that I don't even know if we can keep doing this.
I'll go real quick on some notes that I wrote down that we could just talk about. One is Red Bulls haven't kept a clean sheet in 6 matches. They haven't won a match in 7 attempts. They're 4th place with 44 points. So we have a 2-3 point discrepancy between each other. And, you know, their superstars, Lewis Morgan, 12 goals, 2 assists. Van Zier, 9 assists, 3 goals. And Daniel Edelman's been beast at center midfield. So, right, we know the game plan. It's been the game plan since the day of time. They're going to press. I'm a little scared. We've been looking a little shaky against the press, but we've been able to keep the press, you know, under control when we've played the Red Bulls. So I think if we keep our composure, I'm hoping we can really, you know, come out of here with a W. I think this is a must-win game. There's not a lot of games that we have that aren't against easy opponents. I think we play Cincinnati next after that, and it's not going to be an easy game. So I think we need to consider this a must-win. I think we have a chance. I think that's it. I don't know. Do you think I missed anything?
No, I think that was a good recap. Let's just hope Sands, and I know we say this every year, but I'm gonna say it again, and because people already been saying it. Let's hope Sands' last minute goal was the Goody moment that we needed for this year to turn it around. And we mentioned Goody every day. This guy's gonna be a legend for this. You know what? Build the Goody trophy outside the stadium because we literally talk about him every year.